Good day, everyone. To our global leaders, environmental pollution has been an increasingly issue that troubles us economically, physically, and every day in our lives. This shows that environmental pollution is becoming an increasingly worse problem that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. Yet, a lot of people think this is not a problem. Life is more than just a money. We are talking about the life of the people in the next generations, animals, air, and water.
Being in today's generation, we are being taught fundamental practices related to environmental development. Now, we are speaking in our perspectives. We witnessed how brutal our Mother Earth is in protecting itself through typhoons, floods, earthquakes, and etc. We experience this for the fact I never take courage to take a step to show affections towards our beloved Earth. We live in a place torturing its natural resources, illegal mining, disorganized trash, factories and industries, automobiles are just the primary cause in sinking the Earth we are living.
Hello everyone, good day. I am Shamal Andrea C. De Vera and I'll be discussing about typhoon. So back in the year 2013, Typhoon Yolanda was being identified as the strongest typhoon at that time. According to local officials, the Tacloban city on the island of Leyte destroyed 90%. The typhoon's fury affected more than 14 million people across 44 provinces, displacing 4.1 million people, killing more than 6,000 people and leaving 1,800 missing. This incident leaves everyone to silence and shock. People who left behind their loved ones are hurt and guilty.
Hi, I'm Joshua Brian Gigan and I'm here to talk about deforestation. And as the time goes by, the world has been continually experiencing climate change. And throughout the history of wildfires, organizations, forestry practices, and other more human and natural factors, it is highly believed that just by looking at all those incidents of resulting consequences of climate change, with the continuous production of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, it will be the possible result to a future where flooding of coastal areas, desertification of fertile areas, melting of glacial masses and more will be a constant calamity, and not to mention all the living creatures as well as its habitat where their number is at risk or endangered. And the destruction of human practices has done something for their own benefits but done nothing to the sources. It is clearly just ironic how they needed the resources to live but unable to preserve and maintain, which also eventually will lead to their very end or extinction. Moreover, recognizing, realizing, and experiencing the effects of deforestation, many nations are now taking actions of afforestation or reforestation projects to reverse the negative effects of the events of time. Thank you.
Oldest relationship is between a man and his environment. In this environment, humans have other options. Nature is a gift from God, and as we can see, wildlife exists in this environment. In recent decades, wildlife populations have seen a dramatic decline, a 60% decrease in the last 40 years. Reports identify significant threats to wildlife populations, which include habitat loss, overexploitation, and climate change. As years pass by, wildlife begins to change as well in a positive and in negative ways. With that, we should take care of our environment. With the given importance of forests and wildlife, its maintenance and conservation should be given utmost priority. It should also be clear that wildlife conservation is not possible with the efforts of anyone. Only hard work of all will lead to excellent results.
And see how most people react. I find it's a bit like sustainable development, a phrase at which many people quietly glaze over and switch off. So here's the first point: don't switch off. Climate change isn't just words, it's a real thing. And man-made climate change is a very scary real thing. The rise in global temperature over the last several decades is a matter of public record. There is an overwhelming scientific consensus that it can only be explained by one thing: the rise in greenhouse gas emission caused by human activities. Some people say that climate change is unnatural and we shouldn't worry. The answer to that is that we have indeed naturally occurring climate change since the Earth was formed. But none of natural causes of climate variation, from the sun's output, the tilt of the Earth, volcanic activity, or emission from rotting vegetation, can account for the warming we observe today.
For alternative solution, there are many harmful effects of human activities on the environment. We have typhoon, deforestation, wildlife, and climate is the major reason. Due to all the above human activities, our planet has reached unsustainable levels. Therefore, it is our duty and responsibility to lower the loss. Every individual can play a significant role in this solution. For typhoon, awareness, education, preparedness, and predictions, and warning system can reduce the destructive impacts of the natural disaster on communities. The good solution for deforestation is by consuming less, avoiding single-use packaging, eating sustainable food, and choosing recycled or responsibly produced food products. We can all be part of the movement to protect forests. Make choices for forests, nature, and people and those of vocally, and one of the easiest and most effective ways to help wildlife is to preserve the environment in which the animals live. Volunteer with organizations in your area to restore native forests, grasslands, and coastal ecosystem by planting native species, manually removing invasive plant species, and taking out old fences. For climate change, is changing our main energy sources to clean and renewable energy is the best way to stop using fossil fuels. This includes technologies like solar, wind, wave, tidal, and geothermal power. Switch to sustainable transport, petrol and diesel vehicles, planes and ships use fossil fuels.
The world is sending us a message that as stewards of creation, it is our duty to take good care of our earth, to be the voice of sea, mountain, trees, and animals, protect them as to how they protect us. Let's educate ourselves and be mindful of our actions. We must spread environmental awareness in our society and as well as in our daily life routine. It is necessary and to protect our environment because it is our responsibility of everyone to do a bit of our environment. Please listen to our concern. Let us work together and let the earth breathe.